Bubbles are one of those macro photography subjects that's really fun to try out at home, especially in the winter months when everything's got to come indoors and, well, get a little bit more tabletop. So today I'm going to be exploring how to photograph bubbles and how to take your bubble photography to the next level. Stick around and I'll get started in just a moment. Hi guys, I'm Ben from Adaptalux and welcome back to another macro photography tutorial where today we're photographing bubbles. It's something that I've photographed before. It's always fun, it's always pretty messy, but it always gives some really cool abstract results that are really easy to capture at home. All you really need to capture bubbles is something that produces bubbles. In my case, we've got some dish soap. We're also going to need some sort of surface to photograph on, so I've got a couple of different colored plates here. I also need a little bit of water and something to help me create some bubbles, so I've got a little sponge here as well, all ready to go. Now, the type of bubbles that I'm going to be creating today are going to be, well, numerous, lots of bubbles. I want as many bubbles as I can get, and then I'm going to get really close with a macro lens to get a more up-close image of those bubbles. I want to make it feel like you're surrounded by these giant bubbles, and we're going to be placing some lighting to make all of that come together and seem a little bit more abstract. So the very first thing that I need to do is grab my camera and get some bubbles down onto one of my plates. So I already forgot one item, and that's a cloth to dry my hands with. Obviously, this is quite messy. Don't do it on a table that you don't want to get wet. Do make sure that you've got plenty of space around, because you want to be moving things around. Things are going to get wet and covered in soap. Now, before I do get started, I did want to talk about the difference between my shooting surfaces. We've got a white plate and we've got a black bowl. Now, the reason that I've chosen these two surfaces is because of that color. The white plate is going to reflect any light that we place onto our bubbles, and the black is going to absorb that light. I think this is going to give us two slightly different results, and I'm not sure which one is going to be better, so I'm going to be photographing on both, and I'll let you know which is the best plate, the best color of surface to photograph bubbles on. I'm not sure if I want everything to be surrounded by light or if I want my light coming from a specific direction. So black or white, I'll let you know. Let's get over to our camera and see what these bubbles look like up close. So I've grabbed the Lauer f2.8 2.5 to 5 times magnification macro lens and popped it on the front of my Sony a7 III here, which is then placed on a tripod. I do have a focusing rail attached here, and I've got a shutter release cable as well, which is ready to go so that we can take some photos with as little camera shake as possible. We can also do some focus stacking if that's necessary, and I think it might be, because the first thing that I notice about these bubbles is their depth. We can obviously see quite a lot of the front surface of these bubbles, but there's also quite a lot of bubbles behind those bubbles, so it might be really interesting to explore some bubbles in multiple levels. However, for now, I'm just going to stick to capturing some photographs of that surface level of bubbles. Now, you can see that despite these bubbles actually being really quite fine because they've been created using the sponge, we're able to get really close, and some of those bubbles are now much larger. However, we do have a problem here, and that is our settings. Talking about our depth of field, we're shooting at 2.8, so f2.8 is going to give us a very shallow depth of field, not ideal for our bubbles. I'm also at ISO 8000, which is obviously not ideal for picture quality. We're going to get a lot of grain in these images, but there's a way to fix both of these problems, and that is extra lighting. I think not only is some more light in this image going to improve the settings, it's also going to make it far more interesting. So as you can see, we've now got some red and white light coming from the Adaptalux studio pointed down at my bubbles, and I've actually focused in on a single quite large bubble here, and I think that's a really interesting starting shot. However, as you can see here, what I thought was happening with my bowl is exactly what is happening down here. So this bubble is actually so big that it's pushed all of the smaller bubbles out to the sides, and it's now revealing that black base. The bowl underneath it is a little black highlight, or rather low light, in the bottom of the bubble here. If we were on our white plate instead, this would potentially look quite different. So I'm going to grab this shot, maybe a couple of others, and then I'm going to change around my lighting and change around my plates to see what the difference is simply from changing the color of the plate under these bubbles. So as you can see here, we've changed over our plate. We're now on the white plate, and I think that's had the desired effect on our bubbles. We're now getting a little bit more brightness in the bottom of each bubble, but it's heavily dependent on the placement of your lights. So light coming in from the side will always create a catch light in the bubbles because they're convex. They will catch any light coming from any direction, and they'll create a little catch light in those bubbles. So wherever your light source is, it will reflect a little bit in each and every bubble. However, placing your lights directly above the bubbles also creates a bit more reflection on the surface at the bottom because the light can pass through and back up out of the bubble. They're very strange things to get the hang of. Placing your lights in different places, it can really change the effect on your image. So I do recommend playing around with the placement and color of your lights to find something that looks really cool to you. It has had the effect of changing our settings as well. As you can see, my ISO has come down from 8,000 to 4,000, so it's halved. It's still not great, but that's because I've made the choice to pop my aperture all the way up to f16. I don't think you can see it there, but it's at f16 because I want the deepest depth of field possible. I'd rather not have to focus stack too much to get some cool shots. One of the most interesting things about a subject like this is that it's changing all of the time. The bubbles are quite dynamic. They're popping and moving around. Even a little gust of wind could change your shot. And that in itself is quite cool. You can sit here and get one shot 1 minute, and then a couple of minutes later then the shot will look completely different as the bubbles have popped and moved around. Specifically with these bubbles, because I've made them with a sponge, they're quite small, but if you wait a little while, the smaller bubbles pop and merge with bigger ones, and you tend to get a lot larger bubbles in the same sort of formation. So if you're finding that your bubbles are too small, then just give it a moment and the bubbles will start to pop and coalesce into larger ones. If you don't have a 5x macro lens like mine, that might be the best option for you. But for now, I think I'm getting close enough to these bubbles to make things look really cool. I've tried all sorts of variations now, different colors, different placements of light, the different types of plates. I've been focus stacking and not focus stacking, and that focus stacking is pretty tricky. The transparency of the bubbles plus the tiny pinpoints of light and the movement of the bubbles all adds together to really confuse the focus stacking software. I'm using Helicon Focus, and it really doesn't know how to deal with all of those little elements put together, and it comes out with an image that is quite busy. So I think I actually vastly prefer just leaving it a natural shot that has soft focus in the background and the foreground, and that makes that narrow aperture more important. Of course, you need a lot of light, and then you'll get that wider depth of field, which should be enough to get some of those larger bubbles in focus in their entirety. I think it makes the whole scene look a lot softer and nicer as well. You can also make everything look softer and nicer by using some diffusion on your lights, although it does give a completely different look. I also found that it was really interesting finding the reflections that are in between the bubbles and around the sides of the plate, and where the little surface tension is sitting around the plates, the edges, the bubbles. All of it reflects light slightly differently to the bubbles themselves, and it can add a little bit of extra interest. I want to know what you guys think to my shots today. I think this really is a fantastic shoot that you can do at home quite easily with a lot of interesting and varied results. Let me know if you agree down in the comment section, and if you learned something today, make sure to hit the like button. Hit subscribe for lots more macro photography tutorials, ideas and inspiration coming in the future. But for now, that is all I've got time for. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next time.